Lynn Harfoush is a member of Lebanon's Executive Committee of the National Bloc, addressed the UN Security Council on Wednesday and urged the international community to back the Lebanese army.
The mask fell and I saw the truth. The truth that resistance was a mere facade to exploit an entire country for an expansionist project. The truth that Hezbollah seeks to break us away from other communities through its ideological and social project. The truth that under Hezbollah's dominance, Iran's arm in Lebanon, war becomes a recurring reality.
Well, Lynn Harfoush is a member of the Executive Committee, as I said, of Lebanon's National Bloc. Joins us now from Beirut. It's good to have you. I want to talk about specifically what you addressed there, the LAF, the Lebanese army's sort of opportunity to go after Hezbollah. But before we do that, just how significant is this escalation in Lebanon and the announcement by Israel that it will start a ground offensive, albeit they say limited and targeted?
Hello, Becky, and thank you so much for having me. Let's start. This is a very major escalation. At first, Israel has even been bombing places beyond the strongholds of Hezbollah, including central Beirut and infrastructure. But all this ground invasion is definitely another level of escalation that is happening, which is specifically significant because it means it is a longer conflict. Not only is it a longer conflict, it even has more impact on civilians. It has more impact in terms of evacuation and having mass displacement. But most importantly, this is a major escalation that will very much affect the negotiation pace and potentially reaching a deal between Lebanon and Israel.
It's the Lebanese people, lest we forget, and we must never forget, who suffer the most during these times. What are you seeing and hearing in Lebanon?
Definitely. The major problem is that, as usual, Hezbollah drags us into a war completely unprepared and completely incapable of beating Israel. And obviously, the Lebanese people pay the price. There is almost 1 million people who are displaced, 200,000 of those who live in public shelters. School has stopped. Infrastructure is being hit. There is no such thing as a safe area. And Hezbollah militants are hiding between civilians. And this is creating a very big rage among the Lebanese people, and especially the different communities who feel like they do not want to keep paying the price of Hezbollah's suicidal missions every while and then. The Shiite community, however, I can guarantee you that on that night at 1 a.m., when the rockets were hit from southern Lebanon to Israel, even the Shiite community was very upset and rejected what Hezbollah has brought to them. They spent more than 10 hours on the roads escaping the stronghold areas that they knew were going to be bombed by Israel.
You have urged the international community to back the Lebanese army. Let's just explain why that army has so few teeth, as it were, at present. I mean, they are expected to defend the sovereign state that is Lebanon. They lack resources. Just explain, who you are appealing to for support at this point.
One of the most important messages that we try to convey in my speech is that the call for the humanitarian aid is, of course, very important because, as I mentioned, the number of displaced is huge. But now we need a political solution. This is a major political crisis where there is an armed militia on our ground in Lebanon, which has been classified by our government as an outlaw that still has weapons and that still controls the peace and war decision in Lebanon. The Lebanese army is the only protector of this country and is the only organization that has the legitimacy to take these decisions and that can gain the trust of the international community. And this is why it's very important that direct support comes to the Lebanese armed forces in terms of weapons, in terms of trainings, and in terms of all the negotiations that are going to make sure the Lebanese armed forces are the only armed forces taking the grip over the ground in all areas.
So that's the first issue, and the very important issue, the pressing issue at this point. Support, you say, for the Lebanese armed forces, which has had support in the past. Let's remind people from Gulf countries, not least from Riyadh. Meantime, Ron Dermer, a very close advisor for Benjamin Netanyahu, has been charged with discussing a possible deal, arrangements between Israel and Lebanon. Do you believe another ceasefire at this point can be reached? And what is the wider plan here? What do you believe Lebanon is prepared to offer in terms of relations with Israel at this point?
In fact, the Lebanese authorities have already started this diplomatic initiative. Having a ceasefire is great and it suits everyone now so that people can go back to their houses. But this is a temporary solution and this is not what we need right now. We need a long-term solution. And the diplomatic initiative that the Lebanese authorities has started discusses ending the state of war between the two countries. We cannot bear the cost of continuous wars. We need to make sure that the Israelis withdraw from our land fully. We need to make sure that Israeli aggression stops against the country, but we also need to guarantee to the international community that we will disarm Hezbollah and that there will not be further threats of random rockets flying across our southern border. And eventually, I think the real discussion that needs to happen now is ending the state of war between the two countries, because this will definitely contribute to the regional stability.
Yeah, we cannot bear the cost of continuous wars, the cycle of violence. I mean, you hear that very specifically from inside Lebanon. You also hear that around this region, the idea of sort of navigating a new Middle East which isn't, you know, headlined with conflict, but is headlined with prosperity and peace, is a direction that so many people want to go in. De-escalation, not escalation of these sort of conflicts, and this idea of sort of mowing the lawn as we see these theatres of war so often. It's good to have you. Thank you very much indeed. Your insight is really extremely valuable to us, and I'm glad we got the sound from you in addressing the international community. It's an important point. Thank you.